Okay, guys. All right, welcome very much to my Florida PowerShell user group meeting for today, and I'm going to be covering, taking a look at PowerShell cross-platform. And this is going to be a very interesting session because I'm going to be showing my Linux environment through remoting, and we're going to be connecting to my VM, which is a Windows Server 2016, and then on Linux also Ubuntu 16.04.01. Hold on a second, let me check here. Okay, so in my contact information, I've been MVP for close to 8 years now. Hopefully I make number 9. I'm a Sapiens Technology MVP, which means I'll lose one of my favorite products in the Windows environment for PowerShell is PowerShell Studio. And as you probably think, I eat, breathe PowerShell. I love this technology very, very much. And I recently became IDERA Ace for, I put there 2016, but it's the next year, 2017. If you need to reach me, there's my email, Twitter. I also have a LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, and my MVP link is there if you want to check it out. Here. Alright, so one thing, just recently Microsoft announced the Microsoft Tech Community Portal for IT Professional. I suggest everybody to take a look at this. It's free. You can participate in conversation, issues. There are MVPs in there too. Microsoft RDs are in there too. So it just came out, so you want to sign up and see how it goes for you guys. I've been posting a lot of stuff in there. Mostly recently I've been doing more on the PowerShell Open Source because I see it's a little bit of a good opportunity to expand your knowledge now that it's available for a different distro on Linux. You want to check that out. Oh, by the way, if you guys didn't notice, I was the guy of the video of the shark that got knocked off the stand-up board. That went viral, incredible. I mean, I couldn't even believe it. Alright, so our agenda for today is we're going to kind of like a quick review on PowerShell for Windows and the open source version. Then I'm going to cover a little bit about my environment, the Linux environment. And we're going to go through the Visual Studio Code. I think this part, you're going to like it very much. And then we're going to see a demo of the interaction cross-platform between my Windows Server 2016 VM and my remote connectivity to my Linux machine, how we share that. It's going to be very flexible here, okay, during the demo. It's going to be live, and we're going to try to do a lot of stuff in there. So but we're going to go for the slides then. We still have a few more slides here to go. Alright, first of all, understand, I'm not a Linux expert. Maybe my only knowledge of Linux in the past has been working with web pages through FTP, right? I mean, you build a site and you maintain it through FTP. That was my basic knowledge of Linux for some time. But due to the technology of PowerShell Open Source and SQL Server, now I'm investing my time more to learn about Linux and polish. You know, it's an additional skill set for me, which eventually is going to be useful in the near future. And for now, I want to share what I'm done here with you guys. Thinking about Windows person who never touched Linux fully into Linux, it was a good trial for me, and it still is. I mean, this is going to be evolving and polishing. As you guys know, PowerShell, open source, yes. Linux, or different distribution, even Macintosh, and then of course you probably heard of SQL Server. Yeah, SQL Server's on Linux. I can't demonstrate that a lot in here, but I'm working with it, and I'm pretty satisfied with what I've seen. So until they release it to the public, I won't be able to show what I got in here, but it's very, very interesting. Very interesting. I really like the direction this is heading for Microsoft and the Linux environment. First of all, there you go. Windows PowerShell versus PowerShell Open Source. How you heard about this thing? I needed to put this thing just because one thing, right? Microsoft loves Linux, and we have Windows PowerShell and open source, meaning for whatever other OS. And you say, oh, you gotta be kidding, but no, it's here. Why the baby face? Because keep in mind, this is in the early stages. So by being open source, yes, now a lot of people are contributing in it. You can contribute with it. And so the development for this product to become RTM is going to take some time, but at least we can see the progress through open source, okay? And I will share the links on how to get it and how you can contribute, okay? So you get it through GitHub. That's the repository where PowerShell resides. I put some additional links for information, especially I think this is one of them is one of the videos that Jeffrey Snover, the father of PowerShell, the engineer of PowerShell, posted. It's a 1-hour video when when PowerShell Open Source was announced. It is a very good, interesting video. You should take the time to view it. I mean, it is very impressive for all the things you can do with PowerShell now, and it still is in the early stages, okay? There's still bugs. Yes, there's still bugs. It's suspected. It's an alpha version, but they're working on it. So what a big deal, as I mentioned before, a Windows person that, Windows admin that never have worked with Linux, and all of a sudden, you know, maybe the company decided, oh, you're going to manage my Linux. Well, then the transition began. The cross-platform administration began. Some people have the opportunity to do it, many others doesn't. Maybe they didn't want to, oh, Windows GUI, oh, perfect. Now PowerShell is here for some time. Finally, they're realizing I need to learn PowerShell. Now, the reverse part of that is for a Linux person. Linux person, I know for the fact, and it's true, they love the bash. They love bash this, bash that. Then why PowerShell? Let me reverse that again in the sense, okay, well, why will you learn PowerShell in a Linux environment? Well, one thing for sure is now that .NET is available, .NET Core is available. Mono was there before. .NET Core is available. You learn about object-oriented language and how to work with objects. I mean, it's very practical to use PowerShell to collect information of your system and for documentation and, or I mean, all the things that you can do with PowerShell is scripting. And keep in mind, in the Windows world, doing scripting interactively with .NET Object was the big thing. For now, they have this ability also in the Linux world. And it's still, yes, it's going to take some time for administrating Linux to accept it and work with this. But again, this is a skill set needed for your profession to grow and be how you call it, and be on demand of this skill set. Job security, of course, you know, and bring job security. You know, PowerShell, you can port that information, all your skill set into this environment now. One of the big heads up in here, one of the big important point. Now PowerShell interacts with Python. That's awesome, you know, because now the Python person now I need to understand PowerShell. That the combination of both is power. It is power. And I'm going to try to show a demo, a very, very tiny piece of demo just to open the eyes of the possibility for this. But this is starting and it's not going away. That's the good thing about this. So I can see in here the difference, you know, there's a PowerShell 6. It's called PowerShell, not Windows PowerShell. So the open source PowerShell, Windows PowerShell, it still is, how you call it, it is still like dominated by Microsoft in one way. So open source. Everybody can hack and do whatever they want in there. Windows PowerShell, no, that Microsoft controlled that part. Okay, it's a trademark, and it's still developing. Now, is this going to merge into one? Maybe in the near future. We don't know how. Some of the modules on the PowerShell's open source, I think it will be it is already integrated into the latest release, in the newer release of Windows PowerShell. So that's going to be a little bit, that's one thing I'm going to ask on the MVP Summit when I go, how this is going to blend in. For example, if you have a bug on Windows PowerShell 5.1 or 5.x, that has to go through user voice site on the Windows forum. Everything bugs that you find on PowerShell open source goes through GitHub. Everybody can share and put stuff in there, and everybody can fix. So, I mean, they have some authority, whatever, but it's two different areas when you report bugs. I've seen bugs from Windows PowerShell 5.1 being put in GitHub. No, because it's not really open source. You got to put it on user voice. So that's the direction we probably have to be defined better. So one thing I'm going to ask on the MVP Summit. Now I'm a Linux environment. This is the configuration of what I got right now. It's a physical laptop, 10 gigabyte of RAM, and then I have installed Oracle VirtualBox. Works great. I mean, thinking that when I had Windows version on it, I think it's the drive, my hard drive is much slower than it couldn't handle Windows. But for Linux, it works great. No complaint with that one. I got Visual Studio Code loaded. I put for Windows, I should really meant Linux. On the VM, I got the Windows version. On Linux, I have the Linux version of Visual Code. I got both PowerShell version 6.0 Alpha 10 is the version that's there. It's 3.0, it's not 2. And of course, I really forced the fact of using Python 3.5.2 with the TK libraries, the TCL and the TK library loaded. Took me a little bit to figure it out, but the packages that need to be loaded before you can fully use Python for a graphical use. Okay, and then I'll go. So I have to get my environment balanced in such a way that if I do development on one Windows machine, I could do. The purpose is whatever you can do on a Windows machine, you can do cross-platform. You can do on a Linux machine. That's why I'm concentrating right now in PowerShell and Python, because I think that's the hit combination to stay focusing in. Okay, and then for remote connectivity, because I'm on my Linux box, I'm using I have to install the XRDP with the I didn't put it in there, but to start with the connection, the remote session, I had to install the XFCE desktop. But for some reason, Ubuntu was not working. Maybe it was my my lack of knowledge, but I made it work with the XFCE desktop, and that's what you're probably going to see. You see the little mouse on the logo when I remote connected. And then one thing you need to install is the Samba. It comes with the application to mount the drive, but I think you need the Samba in order to configure what kind of machine you're connecting to. In this case, I'm a workgroup machine. I'm connecting as a workgroup level. I don't have a domain controller. I'll try to keep it simple just for demo purpose. But have a workgroup defined, and you have to change that in the configuration file in Linux. I have everything documented. Won't be able to display all this thing, but you see that the whole point, the whole environment, how is at the end, the end result of what I configured. This is an example of my screenshot, so you can see how my Linux machine looked right now. In this example, I have Visual Studio Code that ran some PowerShell in it. I have a terminal session. I have my VirtualBox with Windows Server 2016 TP5. And then this is how probably will look when I remote connect from a Windows machine, a remote connect to my Linux machine. And this is the how the screen is gonna look like. One thing that I discovered with this experimenting and fine-tuning my Linux machine, I found an application that you can use for your Skype for Business. The application is called Sky, and practically is the Linux version of Skype for Business. And you have a Office 365 account, you can use it. You can download for free. You need a registration key in order to test it. It costs about $45 per user, but the quality is very good. I mean, it's just Skype for Business, the Linux version, and it works great. I'm gonna try to do a session with this in the near future. I'll try to get the people to help me to do at least one meeting, all with Sky. Meaning that I should be able, instead of a Windows, I'm presenting from a Windows environment, I'm only presenting from a Linux environment. That would be nice to see. And the only difference between Skype for Business and Sky application is that I cannot record. I can't record. That's the only thing. But no problem, because what I can do is open my client, my Skype for Business client, connect to my Linux machine, share desktop, and on the Windows machine I can probably open Camtasia to record. So I have the necessary tools to produce some recording of this event. This is an example how Skype for Business looks like. I was very impressed. It worked pretty good. Have a limit of maybe 2 minutes to share the desktop when you don't have it paid yet, but good enough to connect, see how it works, and it works great for me. Hopefully I'm gonna get it soon. And then again, yeah, this is an example from the client side using Skype for Business, connecting to my Linux machine, which is great. I mean, can't say bad thing yet about this. Their support, the tech support is very helpful. That I can say. All right, so now let's go into our studio code for cross-platform. This is very important because I mean it's you got PowerShell loaded on your Linux machine or your Mac, and you want to run your script, right? Everything else apply in the sense of if you want to make sure to, when you open your shell, you got to make sure you use the set execution policy, so that way you can run script. One thing that Visual Studio Code do for you is, based on the extension that you load, it automatically set the script to run with the execution policy disabled. I don't think many people might like that, but you know, it's there. It's part of you're developing, so you should be able to run it, right? Of course, it's available for different versions of OSs, customizable, and of course, you see right there what I put, slight learning curve. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's took me a little bit, okay? Took me a little bit to understand how this thing works, and that's going to pass that information to you in this session. Have lots of language extensions, and that's the trick in how this thing works, okay? It's based on the language extension that you load into this application. It's free, so just take advantage of it. Here is a brief image of one of the situations that I have with Visual Studio. It shows you JSON, a JSON file, which is how you set up your environment. In this case, the red box, meaning that I had an error when I was trying to setting up. You're gonna find that up, okay? You're gonna find you're trying to configure it. You get some errors, but let me tell you, if you go to their GitHub link, they will help you. Most of the time, you get quick response If it's a bug, it's a bug. If it's not, they direct you to the right. If it's an extension issue, they'll tell you go to the extension issue, and they will help you. Okay, that's the good thing about this. Okay, and I'll show you more on the JSON settings on configuration. We're in that part. Okay, we're gonna go straight to the cross-platform demo, and bear with me on this one because now I'm gonna try to share the screen on my desktop here. Okay, desktop. Now I need to find out. There you go, primary. Okay. It's not done yet. Okay. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep. I can see it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Perfect. All right. So here we go. Let's do this. Okay. First, I'm gonna show you my. I'm gonna do a test. This is my virtual machine on Windows Server 2016. Can you see it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna. Oh, perfect. Okay, good. Now, yeah, I maximize so that I can see the whole. It will cover like it will presenting from there, but this is the remote desktop. Perfect. All right, so here we have is my Windows server, and I'm gonna close this up. I don't need that, and then I'm gonna go Visual Studio Code. Open it up. Hopefully it will open. I haven't opened on my other one, right? Let's see. Yeah. Yet I would assume that this will open remote desktop. Do I found a bug? Okay. Oh, apparently it doesn't want to open. I'll try another direction. Oh, there you go. Okay, it's a little slow. Alright, that's what it is. Okay, so let's go into that. While that gets loaded, I can see here now. Let me open my Windows 10. We can cover some ground in here while the other loads. Alright, so I'm gonna cut to the chase in here, okay? This is the JSON settings, setting.json file, right? And here, probably what I got is my configuration for running an extension here. This extension called Runner is a very decent extension, let me tell you, okay? It has PowerShell pointing to the alpha version, okay, to the open source. This is how you set up Code Runner to run PowerShell open source. Below, I have commented out the original line, which shows PowerShell and execution policy bypass.file. This means run the script on this environment. I don't care about execution policy. Okay. three ways to run PowerShell. The first line will run the PowerShell Open Source for debug mode. For debug mode, you need to have the launch.json file. And that will work when you first open a blank folder. Let's say you open Visual Studio Code in a blank folder, and these two different JSON files need to reside on that folder before you work with your scripts. And I mean, you know what? Let's do a quick one in here. Okay, let me close the folder. Let me open a folder, and let's say let me go to let me look for a Sapiens folder. Sapiens folder. Okay, where is it? Yes. Easy to sort. There it is. And I'm going to go to script, and I'm going to do select folder. Right? Oh, I have a few in there that I didn't know I had. Okay, so I open the folder, it's right there, and if I want to, okay, let me open this. Oh my God. Okay, guys, this is a this is a PowerShell script. The worst you shouldn't do. This is exactly a VBS Visual Basic script converted line by line to PowerShell. This is a no-no. But just for the exercise of configuring this folder for you to work with PowerShell, then if I go to the debug button, which is here, and look at this, it's going to be on top here. It's a setting. This is a setting button, right? And it's going to tell me it's not configured. It's not configured. If I do run the debug, I would run the debug, select environment. Well, I'm going to select PowerShell. And it says set up launch configuration, close. And I'm going to click here. I'm going to go back to my folder. You see another subfolder. It's like a hidden folder gets created. And right there, the launch.json is created. Now, this folder is set up to run your PowerShell script. Okay. Now you have extensions, which is here. See, extensions. All these in my main extension that I installed. When you first open Visual Studio Code, it will be empty. So you look for the extensions to install. PowerShell is the main one to install. Then you have Code Runner. Those two are good ones. Okay. The benefit of Code Runner is that when you go to the anywhere on your script and you right click, you see an option say Run Code, and Run Code, and then we'll run that code. As a matter of fact, let me run this one, and it's running. And as you can see below here, I'll show up all my system information. So, you know, all this thing will simple with only one line. Select. A matter of fact, it should be with a list. Matter of fact, you know what? Let's do this thing. If I do this, and I'm gonna do this is one thing I need to talk to them. There's no comment on and off. So you see, you have certain things that it might be good to ask them for enhancements. So let's say I'm going to remove this from here. I don't care much about the script anyway. So what I'm going to do is $, column items, and I do format dash. You see, having IntelliSense too. It's perfect. This works in both Windows and Linux. Okay, I'll do list, and I do enter, and if I run this again, Matter of fact, let me clear. There's this clear option here for your output. Just clear it. Right click, run code. And as you can see, I don't really need all that code. I eliminated like 20 lines of code, substitute with one line. This is a good example of this is a bad example of converting a VB script straight to line by line to a PowerShell script when the only thing you needed is just a few lines. Okay. And then if you go to here in your extension, you add those files in there. They go back to the go back to the debug. Let's go to debug here. You see the little roach there, debug, and I'm gonna do this and this. I highlight it and do debug, and now I can go step through each one of these. And here I can see more information of the variables, the arguments, so you can debug line by line. This is great. This is great. That's one way to run PowerShell. This is the second way to run PowerShell. First way in debug. Second way is run code. The third way you might want to run PowerShell is, in this case, is through terminal. And if I do, I don't think I have this one in here. So for that, to run terminal, what I need to do is File, go to Preferences, and User Settings. And you can see Terminal Integrated Shell Windows. You can change, this is changed already to run PowerShell. Now, if I want to run, for open source, then you can go ahead and change this to point to the open source folder. Okay. And this, what it does is, if I do View and run Integrated Terminal, at the bottom you're at the PowerShell prompt, and you can, run the script from there manually, typing .source, which is great. So it is really a great tool. The thing is, when you use it under Linux, which I'm gonna bring that up now, I can't forget about the Windows one for now. There you go. Now this is my Linux. It's not Ubuntu desktop because I had to use the XFCE desktop in order for my XRDP to work, because it is it's a 2D desktop. That's how I've been narrowing down to how this thing works. So you got to forgive me for that. So if here you see applications, terminal, I can go terminal here, and then I can go ahead. This is customizable. Like I put it in black and green and do PowerShell. Matter of fact, you think this will work if I type PowerShell this way?
/ No, I don't know.
It's the
Work? That'll work.
I'm waiting for John Campbell to respond. No, yeah. No. Look. It won't work. It won't work. It's nothing to do with sudo, okay? But good thing you mentioned sudo. No. It's lowercase. Everything is lowercase. Yeah, everything is lowercase. So there's differences, and yeah, and then of course I do PS version on this tab. The tab works, and then give you the version. So yeah, this is a thing I gotta get used to. I used to type PowerShell the right way, right? Capital P, capital S, but now it's all lowercase. I was able to install this other thing, which was, I see it practical. I don't see anything wrong with this. It's screen, and within the PowerShell prompt, press screen, and as my understanding was that I can go back to Bash and I do whatever I want in it, you know, and it's fine and dandy, and then I can exit, and I'm back to my prompt. But I think there's some issues with it. I just can't trap. It says screen is terminating. For me, it's done. It's done. I can do back to my PowerShell, and if I type screen again, I will back to Bash. So I can't really see. Somebody was saying there's something wrong with this in Ubuntu, but for me, it's working. But then again, I'm not a Linux expert. At least I found it interesting that I can go back and forth between Bash without really exiting my PowerShell console. You know, my PowerShell prompt. So which is great. So now I can go ahead and let me close this up here. I can do application development and have a Visual Studio, which took me a little bit to figure out how to enable it for remote desktop. I documented this in their website, and I probably will write a blog about this. So you can see here. Now I have Visual Studio Code in Ubuntu working. And then here I go straight to my setting JSONs, so you can see that the differences between the Windows and the Linux version. Here you see they have a terminal integrated share.linux. In the Windows version is .windows. And then of course I have it set here for run bash, or I can change it by commenting out the top line, and I could just go ahead and run the PowerShell. And of course, all the other settings that you can find and copy paste from the default. And how do I find these settings? Okay, that's the part that I'm missing here. So let me close this up. And in order for you to start building, customize your Visual Studio Code, you can go to File Preferences, User Settings. Okay, so this is the trick. Let me maximize this. On this side here, workspace, I don't care for that. You have default settings. Every extension you load, it comes with some default settings, and you can grab them and change them from the default setting, which you can change in there. You can copy from there. You can search for them. As you can see, all the different languages are in there. PHP, TypeScript. So you look for the one like terminal. See, it's a terminal, and then you highlight and you copy paste to your settings, to the settings.json. And keep in mind, settings.json stays in the folder you're working in. Okay, so that's how you grab all those settings and customize it. Okay, you grab them from the default settings, and then you copy into your settings.json for that particular folder you're working on. Okay, this is very practical. And as you can see here, my launch.json, so I can run my PowerShell from deep debug, and the setting here shows the different setting that I customize for this, like this one. So it recognizes that all these file extensions belongs to PowerShell, and then I can change this to my terminal to run straight to PowerShell. And I gotta go and see. Let me save it, and let me open one of these and put this up a little bit. And I'm gonna do view, and I'm doing this all remote through remote desktop. Okay, and there it is. My PS version table, boom, and I'm in my Linux version of PowerShell. And then of course I can go ahead and do the debugging here and go for each one of them. Execute. Boom. And there it is. You see, the debug will also output, if you have anything that will output to a console, the debug will display that information on the bottom on the debug console. Okay, so that's the 3 ways you can run PowerShell using VS Code. Okay, so now in the next part will be, okay, so I got PowerShell in Windows with script. I have PowerShell in Linux. The connectivity just between them. For that, I gotta have a cheat sheet. So I'm gonna try to bring it over here. Oh, wait. Oh, this is very good. Perfect. I'm gonna show this one. Sometimes you need to move files around, right? And it's not very that accessible. Let's use the internet, right? You probably could use Dropbox, but also Dropbox. But let me tell you that I'm very I've learned to use OneDrive. I mean, I have a live account, Outlook.com account, and but live have improved a lot, and I'm going to show you here. And for that, let me open my Firefox. Okay, you know what? Just because I want this, there. Can I run it from here? Let's see. Yeah. All right. Awesome. So now let's open this, and I'm going to open my Outlook.live.com. Let me sign on to it. And I'm going to go to my, all these messages that I got down there from GitHub, from PowerShell Open Source. So I'm going to my OneDrive. And here's when things get very interesting. Let's see. Hopefully it will work here. Let me go for my docs. Let's see, do I have any PowerShell in here? No. Oh yeah, you know what? Let me open this one. I have a PowerShell file in here. See how it comes up. Now in the mood of moving files, right? You can either go to the internet, push the file up there, bring it down. But this is what I like about OneDrive right now. This is cool. You can edit your PowerShell files that you have saved on your OneDrive, and it shows the color scheme on it. This is awesome. Okay, this is awesome. So now I just wanted to show you this, but this is one thing that you can edit a file, keep it there on the cloud, and or just download and move files around, right? So what you wanted to show you that this is interesting, and it's very good to know. Here I'm gonna do sudo su. The command is in there, so what I'm gonna do is look for it. Okay, so now almost there. There you go. Okay, so after I install Samba, and I found this is a command that will connect to my share folder in my Windows server. And put my password in. It's connected. So now, if I do, where's my Nautilus? I don't need that. This is what I need. And I go to my gotta get used to my document. This is by CrossPlatform, and this is the script that is on my Windows server. So let me just go ahead and go back to my Windows server. Finally decided thing is, this comes from my Windows machine. If I go ahead and do this mount, something wrong with it. Oh, of course. And of course you got the cap. And you can see here, it's gone. Because I was connected to my Windows folder. Okay? It's no longer there. I need to create a folder so I can map to my same folder on my Windows share folder. So I'm gonna go here again if I want to respond to that. It's there, and all of a sudden, refresh, and there it is. See? So I mean, this is very interesting because that way you can go ahead and open a share folder in Windows and then have your Linux machine connect to it, and you can at least view the file and restore maybe. But of course, my only thing that I'm haven't been successful in this scenario is I still haven't figured out a way to make rewrite for this file. So I'm going to be able to view it. If I click here, right click, open with Visual Studio Code, I'm going to open it up. And as you can see in there, is there. Now what happened if I'm going to do, let me open that folder. Let me see, here, and okay. Open the folder. Go to try out. And then of course it needs that the settings and the JSON and the launch settings and the launch.json files to be created in order to run. Oh, you know what? Let's go for it. You see, you won't be able to run. Not configuration. See, because I open. Although this is a share folder, but I don't have access to that share folder settings information. I had to build it again if I want to run this. So I could probably copy the file somewhere and work with it. But at least this is a work in progress. So, but at least you're able to create share folder, connect it to a Windows machine, and then you could probably swap files or see the code and work with it. Okay. So this is great. Right, so we can skip on this. So let me go back to my presentation here because there's one more thing I want to point out. Okay, so now we're in for all this thing in here. Go to additional resources. I just added this thing now. I discovered 2 more links you might want to take a look at. One is, it was posted just today, this YouTube video of Explore PowerShell Unplugged with Jeffrey Snover and Don Jones. Very interesting. Okay, you gotta watch it. Okay. Also, on Pluralsight, they have a course of play-by-play Microsoft Open Source PowerShell Linux Mac. you want to take a look at that. I'm not sure. I think it's free, but let me know. I have access to it because I'm subscribed to broader site, but it might be available for free to view. Okay. Then just keep an eye on my blog. I will posting a lot of stuff between SQL Server, PowerShell Open Source. I love working with data in PowerShell. But open source is the big thing. And then again, if you want to experiment and contribute, that's the GitHub PowerShell link that you can get into. Do you guys have any question?
Have you been able to do anything? I don't. How's your experience been? Have you tried writing any PowerShell scripts for Linux features? I keep trying to come up with ideas, but I don't know where to. I don't even know what I want to do in Linux.
Yeah, well, for now, I would recommend learning the basic of it. You know, look for folders, information, the document. Maybe you want to do a list of packages that need to be removed. Essential maintenance, you know, like you want to remove, clean up, get rid of files or packages in the Linux environment. Something you want to zip, so they have the option to compress files. You want to try that out. It's going to evolve more. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they're polishing on the upcoming releases to you know, so it will be more practical. I think they have in. Let me see. Hold on a second. Look. Let me share my screen again. Let me show you something. Desktop. Okay. So let me see. They have. Let me exit. Let me unmount my mount. Okay, perfect. Let me exit. Pull this up. They have something. We got. It's based on where I'm gonna be at. So let me do a cheat sheet here. OS. Okay. Okay, you're trying to be there is a there you go. There it is. There you go. I'm going to show you something here. And trying to give you an idea of this list. Okay, these are all your .NET assemblies that are loaded for PowerShell, and eventually you're going to be able to consume to do something. You know, you have XML down there, one for the network, the HTTP native. There's a lot of stuff here that is going to be available for us to develop stuff in there. Okay, it's a good idea to go into the site of GitHub PowerShell. Although there might be issues, but you learn some stuff of how they're fixing it, or maybe some workaround Okay, but remember, this is alpha. This is not released. It's not RTM. Okay, so it's going to keep evolving.
What was that command you ran to get that? That was just a.
What's that?
What was the command that you ran to get that
Here,
list?
very simple. It's just a dir, which is get child item. This is the alias for get child item, dir, which is almost the same as running the Linux, the dir in Linux. And then you pipe that into select name, which is you only want to display the name. Okay, and then yeah, and there's this other thing. There's a thing I want to show you too. Oh, did you copy it?
Yep.
Okay, so now I can go ahead and okay. Now there's another one in module. I think let's see if this one displayed. Let me see. I'm trying to get used to all the, there's some scripts that you can download in. Okay. So, it's find command dash tag Linux. This one should display a couple of. Oh, look at that. Okay. Let's see. Let me do a couple. Okay, look at this. You see this? These are new commands you can work with jobs in Linux.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, when I first like send syslog message also. When I first typed this earlier, it was only showing the rs job and the syslog message. Now they're showing more. This is thanks to a couple of people, including myself. We put an issue on. We're gonna make sure that we can identify what Linux packages are available for your OS that you're running this command. And apparently they did some work. So it is very good that you can contribute. You find something that you know that it doesn't sound right or whatever, just post the incident, and you get a response. Okay, yeah, this is a good incident, and they give you feedback about it. They're very responsive. Okay.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no, this is, and then of course, this command helps you find it, and then there's another way to install it. I think like, why did I do it? I did one. This one that's going to be fixed because I mentioned about this. You see, you find a module you want to install, and you type install module space and the name of the module, and do an A for all. This one will fail because it's still not. Yeah, this one is failed because it's still not configured to support Linux, but they're working on it. This is a good, very nice module because its function, what it does is, they give you a general information of the version of PowerShell you're running on machines. So you want to run this against multiple machines, then you're going to give information, if it's the latest version or the older version, but they're working on it. So it's plenty of information here to to read and have you used the Get Help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I love PowerShell. It's especially in Windows because you can just figure out so much because you can discover WMI and all that other stuff.
Yeah, Exactly. So for now, PowerShell Open Source is a little bit limited, but you have enough. You can use it. You know, you can be savvy with it. Start small and then just keep evolving. And remember, you have still to develop modules, how to run modules and stuff. You know, it gives you room to grow. You know, that's what I like about this.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, guys. Well, I guess I really appreciate very much you. You know, you've been here in this session.